Hello again. Now, moving on from where we were at last time, we're now going to take a little bit of like a side tour into the debt that Chris has accumulated. As sort of like a side note as to what the Money article was all about. Debt. How the hell is Quick going to pay all that? Twitter user Tao of Mao1 on viewing the result of Chris's third debt lawsuit. A bit at a time. Do not judge me, Mao. It is wrong to judge others by outdated information and financial shit. Oh, I don't know, Chris. There's a lot of people who will. Chris's response. He has been sued for non-payment many times since. And we'll do this part in a second. Debt is money owed to a creditor due to their mutual laziness and propensities towards hoarding. Barbara and Chris are both heavily in debt. Both have been taken to court for their failure to pay debts on multiple occasions. Barb twice and Chris 9 times, including 2 garnishment hearings as of February 2020. According to the court records, Barbara owes at least $20,000, while Chris owes over $10,000, to say nothing of the $115,000 second mortgage on 14 Branch Lane Court that consumes the lion's share of Chris's monthly tugboat. So we're almost talking an eighth of $1 million. Anyway, the first of many debt lawsuits against the Chandlers. This is from General District Court Online Class Information Lawsuit System. Name, Discovery Bank. Yeah. Here's the thing. Judgment plaintiff, principal amount $4,706. That's for against Barbara Chandler. Okay. I believe, yes, that's about against Barbara Chandler. Okay. Debts. This table summarizes various debts between Chris and Barb. Keep in mind that these are only amounts found by Christorians via Chris's online posts and Virginia District Court public records. The actual amount may be lower because Chris reported on the 2nd of September 2020 that they were making repayments on the sum of the debt. On the 30th of November 2016, Chris started a Patreon with a goal of $250,000. He estimated $200,000 to pay off the mortgage and other debts, plus an extra $50,000 for himself, just because. So we're basically talking between anything between an eighth of $1 million to a fifth of $1 million. You think this is bad? Well, let's take a closer look. Debt, date debt incurred. Debtor, Barbara. Item, mortgage payments to Satiras. On the 24th of September 2014, Chris. Item, loan for Sonshu. Creditor is Chrysler Capital. Amount, $9,000. 16th of March 2016 to the 14th of September 2016. Debtor, Barbara. Item, court judgments for debt. See next section for details. Amount, $20,613.92. 24th of August 2017 to the present day. Chris. Item, court judgments for debt. See next section for details. Amount, $11,606.15. 1st of March 2016. Chris. Item, PS4 purchased via fingerhut.com, $540. 16th of April 2016, Debtor, Chris. Item, payday loan not counting the extremely high interest rates, $3,000. Total, $159,760.07. Many would say they wouldn't even be able to get to as far as 7 cents, but that's... search me. Court cases. 19th of February 2016, judgment date 2016. Discovery Bank, Barbara, warrant amount $4,706.93. Court fees $56. $15,906.99. And again, another case of $56. Mariner Finance by Chris, warrant in debt, case dismissed. Another one to Chris, 2004. Let's just count the ones that, have been incurred by Chris. Well, we know fine well there are 9 are involved here, but let's just add these up in general. 2467.63 failed to maintain payments, credit filled for garnishment. Chris, $2,777 failed to maintain payments, creditor filled for garnishment. Chris, warranted debt, but Portfolio Recovery Associates, Midland Funding, second round sub, eyewitness account of the hearing. Portfolio debt $1,602.62 for more Portfolio Recovery Associates. So I'm guessing these are more or less repossession companies, or people like debt collectors or something. Midland Funding, Chris, closed early result, dismissed, no funds. Closed early result, other, delayed from 18th of March 2020 due to COVID. Precautions heard on 2nd September after 2 postponements. Another one of that, 2,773.56, 905.36. Summary: Barbara, 2 cases, 20,000. Chris, 9 cases, 11,000. That total 11 cases, 32,000. Just wow, and look at all of these records as well. These are everything involved from like Midland and Portfolio and second round, including Jefferson Capital Systems versus Chris's warrant in debt, January 2020, just from last year. Causes of debt: credit cards. That Chris's parents permitted him to acquire several credit cards is very surprising, but the foolishness with which he uses them wouldn't surprise us at all. As of February 2009, Chris had managed to rack up $2,000 worth of debt. At the time of Mumble 4, $1,000 of the sum came from the PlayStation Network store, but his bill for PSN downloads increased by the day, and had even stolen his parents' credit cards to use when his own were maxed out. According to an email Chris sent to Vivian G by January 2010, his debt was around $3,500 and had apparently been higher at some point in the intervening time, but that alone is shocking already. By that point, Chris's debt had gotten so out of hand that Bob was forced to step in, and to make Chris reduce and manage on his own spending, and forcing Chris to make regular payments to pay off his outstanding debt. Chris, thoughtless and uninterested in the fact that unpaid credit card debts occurs severe interest, had historically made payments in the smallest installments possible. At some point, Bob paid off Chris's credit card debt and took payment in installments out of the tugboat income compensation. This foolish act of parental finance enabling allowed Chris to avoid the immediate consequences of his gross financial irresponsibility, and resulted in Chris learning nothing about how to manage his own finances, reinforcing Chris's attitude that he should be able to do anything that he wants and not suffer any negative consequences whatsoever. Not surprisingly, it only took Chris a few short months to land himself in even more financial trouble. Chris had not only acquired a MasterCard charge account through eBest Buy, but as of the second week of August 2010, Chris had predictably used it to land himself in yet more debt, and had been laden with fees for bouncing a credit card payment. Chris acquired the Best Buy charge card without his parents' permission. He only told them about it after receiving 2 bounced check fees that showed up on his bank statement, which his father was actively monitoring. In true Chris fashion, he tried to repay the minimum balance each month. What, 50 cents or something like that, I think? It wouldn't surprise me if he was able to pay even that. When he was forced to reveal the debt of to his parents, Bob was obviously less than thrilled. He probably took control of Chris's bank account as well as his credit cards. From that point until Bob's death, he received only an allowance in the form of Visa gift cards, leaving him unable to accrue any more debt for a short period of time. At that time, the prospect of not being able to blow his welfare on frivolous things stressed him out. Curiously, even in his private communications with Jackie, Chris claimed that the overdraft fees that gave away the existence of the card to Bob were the work of trolls. No, they weren't. Elsewhere in their conversations, however, he recounts other instances of getting carried away and accidentally overdrawing his bank account, suggesting that he was just using the trolls as a handy scapegoat for his own mistakes. Bob, delusional and in the throes of some sort of conspiracy paranoia involving the staff and patrons of the game place, claimed that it was most likely Michael Snyder who had hacked into Chris's credit card account and checking accounts. Pretty sure Michael's got far better things to do with his life than to do something like that. Bob probably salvaged Chris's credit card rating when he paid off all of his major credit card debt at once. But he angrily claimed Chris ruined it with the Best Buy debt, certainly true, and in disturbingly Chris-like fashion, seemed to use this damning information to try to make Chris's latest brush with the law seem petty in comparison. After Bob's death, Chris took back control of his credit cards. That seems like a terrible idea, as he learned nothing due to Bob's enabling. Chris quickly accrued more debt. Unverified information on Chris's credit card debt was leaked on the Quickie forums on the 4th of June 2014. It was revealed that Chris had at least 5 active credit cards, with at least $7,600 in combined credit limit. Of the 5 known active cards, at least 4 were revealed to be maxed out, with at least $7,400 in unpaid debt between the 5 cards. It was estimated that the minimum payment on Chris's known debt was at least $220 a month, and it was revealed that the only reason that Chris had been able to obtain the credit that he wanted was that, historically, he had almost always at least paid the minimum payment each month, although it was implied that he rarely, if ever, paid more than the minimum. In June 2016, Chris's got a credit limit raise from one of his credit cards. Chris immediately blew his bonus on Transformers, only to later beg for money over Facebook. Exactly. Don't even think about giving money to Chris, because he will immediately spend the money he desperately needs on stuff that he should have let go many, many years ago, while blaming his mother for impulsively spending money on their overdue bills than the minimum amount due. Let's just see these very quickly. Transformers on Facebook. Firstly, I want to clarify something, since some people behind their mother's basements sought and leaked amongst their Kiwi grapevines precariously unexpected last month. One of my credit card accounts limits was raised, and I used it to catch up on the Combiner Set collection catch-up, Bruticus plus lovely female Autobots, a Kree, Chromium and Wingblade, and I gave the other half to my mother to help with the bills here. Also, fun, you're a male-born child with a mom and dad in the 80s. Shortly after or middle or end of Season 3 Transformers G1, you want to play Transformers with your family. Chris is trying to justify his gross behavior. And really, you want to include Mom, and you never got to hear of the Search for the Alpha Trion episode, much less the Orion Pax episode. What role can Mom play knowingly? You can only think of a Kree. while Dad is the optimist, pun intended, and you're Bumblebee. And the game is to spy and take out the Decepticons in their current Energon-stealing scheme. Well, than 3 decades later, the transforming figure of a Kree is finally released with a deluxe Optimus Prime and Bumblebee figure, and Starscream, Megatron, Soundwave, the family of yesteryears, can finally be played for real. Totes sweet and sparkles. Yay, we're so heavily in debt, but here comes some shit from the 80s. Didn't mean to press that. 9 minutes later, Chris blames his family financial shortfalls on his mother's bills payments. Oh no. But seriously, that credit increase was a bonus that went quick, and Mom impulsively spending more on the bills than minimum payment as usual. Well, I'd say that's something you have to really do, Chris. We are financially down early this month. What that means to me more emotionally was in my subconsciousness. Oh, who gives a shit about your subconscious, Chris? You've got things to pay, like bills that are going to leave you homeless if you don't. It slows me down more compared to early in the months. So I am more than serious on asking in my recent video for donations. So if you can donate either through the support button on my YouTube channel, or better yet, PayPal to it, whatever. No, don't do it. Bad. Nearing the end of the 2010s, Chris began to ignore his minimum debt payments, casually causing multiple collection agencies to file suits against him. Ally Heichenberg, a financial enabler, trying to help by sending Chris free money. But Chris simply spent the money on entertainment, such as printing up a long line of personal TSSF cards instead. Payday loans. In early 2016, Arthur Spatchcock discovered that Chris had taken out a payday loan of $3,000. Chris borrowed $3,000. What he did was it hazy, sure, but how do you think he bought all those Lego sets for Lego Dimensions? A payday loan charges extremely high interest rates, usually at least 400%, which does not bode well for Chris due to his habit for only paying back minimal amounts at a time. Yeah, I'm saying this now to everyone, do not even think about going anywhere near payday loan companies. That's how people get even more in debt. They are shark companies. Looking ahead. At present, Chris is basically immune to the consequences of his own debts. He should be. The monthly tugboat technically cannot be garnished. Money from financial enablers is squirreled away in PayPal or spent too quickly for the court to note, and his debts are unsecured as he does not have collateral in his name. 14 Branch Lane Court is in the name of his parents. However, the dominoes will begin to fall once Barbara passes away. Without her own tugboat to defray living costs and mortgage payments, it is unlikely Chris will afford the bills to remain at home and must move to an apartment or a trash can beside a wall. The damage to Chris's credit rating and background check from so many debt judgments, as well as wannabe weens, make it highly unlikely prospective employers and landlords will take a chance on him. Concerned followers have urged Chris to sign up for Section 8 housing soon, since the waiting list may be long, as debt is irrelevant regarding Section 8 applications, though Chris has not bothered to do so, instead pretending that the dimensional merge will bail him out, because that's what Chris does, it would seem. One excuse, one after another. What about bankruptcy? Well, what about it? In the United States, creditors can force Bob or Chris into bankruptcy by filing an involuntary petition against either or both of them. If the creditors manage to force the Chandlers into bankruptcy, Serratus, the collection agency for the 14 Branch Lane Court mortgage, may think twice about letting the Chandlers stay. Same for any other bankrupt household, increasing the risk of the so-called homeless saga becoming a reality. The Chandlers would also lose all but the most basic possessions. since the liquidators will try to get as much money as possible, even if it means accepting any offer by a local recycling firm for his hoard of old toys and video games. However, an involuntary petition is not easy. 11 US Code Sir S303 requires Midland funding, Portfolio Recovery Associates, and second round sub to show that Chris has at least $10,000 in debt, and also ignore all outstanding debts like a freeman on the land, both of which came into question on the 2nd of September 2020. Furthermore, if the debt collectors proceed with the involuntary petition and the court rules that the petition was in bad faith, they may end up realizing Chris's imaginary wealth in Dimension C197. For those reasons, the creditors will likely wait for Serratus to foreclose 14 Branch Lane Court after 2 missed payments following the death of Barb, a much greater threat to Chris's future than an involuntary bankruptcy. AKA, by the time Barbara does pass away, nobody knows exactly when, it's more likely to assume that if Chris doesn't have anything sorted out by then, regardless of what happens, he'll be out on the streets. And I'm going to refer back to this debt section when it comes to the financial crisis, when I come to read that. But, again, this is just about how serious the situation is and what years and years of Chris's habits have lended him up into. It's about as deadly and concerning as you could possibly imagine. And I don't even think if Chris sold everything in his house, he would come anywhere close to stabling himself.